The United States is both the richest country on earth and yet beset with a crushing poverty that saddles too many Americans. Today's guest is a Pulitzer Prize-winning author and sociologist who says the reality of American poverty is sustained by those who benefit from it. He's Dr. Matthew Desmond this week on Story in the Public Square. Hello and welcome to Story in the Public Square, where storytelling meets public affairs. I'm Jim Ludis from the Pell Center at Salve Regina University.
And I'm G. Wayne Miller, also with Salve's Pell Center.
This week we're joined by Matthew Desmond, a professor of sociology at Princeton University. Dr. Desmond is the author of a new book, Poverty by America. And we should note he previously won the Pulitzer Prize for an earlier book, Evicted, Poverty and Profit in the American City. Matt, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Jim, for having me. Really appreciate it.
You know, we were chatting beforehand, and I told you that Poverty by America was a phenomenal read. And I kept setting it down and saying to my wife, did you know this? Did you know this? And it's powerful, powerful story that you're telling. We'll get to that in a second. I'm curious, though, what drew you to study poverty in the first place?
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for engaging with the book so deeply. You know, I grew up poor in a little town in Arizona. My family knew the slights and cuts of poverty, our gas getting shut off and making $5 act like $10. We lost our home to foreclosure when I was college. And I think that set me on a certain path. And then for my last book, you know, following families that were evicted in Milwaukee, I saw a kind of poverty and desperation that I had never experienced before personally or seen. You know, seeing kids losing their homes on a daily basis, seeing grandmas living without heat in the wintertime. And it really drove me to this question about why, you know, why so much poverty in this land of dollars?
And it's a profound question. I mean, when I lived in Washington, D.C., I had a friend who was a Ukrainian economist at the World Bank. And she said before she got to the United States, she heard about this incredibly rich and wealthy land. And then when she got to the United States, the reality of the poverty she saw really stunned her. Can you put that into some sort of context globally? How does the United States compare in terms of poverty with other countries around the world?
Compared to other advanced democracies, the United States stands in a disgraced class all by itself. Our child poverty rate is not just higher than our peer nations, it's double that in Germany, in South Korea, and other advanced nations. About a third of our country gets by on $55,000 or less. So a giant chunk of the country is feeling really economically insecure. My colleague Angus Deaton, the Nobel laureate economist, estimated that over 5.5 million Americans are living on $4 a day or less. That's considered abjectly poor by global standards. So one way to think about America is to say we have the biggest economy, we're the richest nation in the world. And another way to think about it is to say, and yet we have more poverty than any other rich democracy.
So how can this be possible in America?
I think the quick answer to that question is because we have designed it so.